Hello, people. Hello, everybody. Look, I got Grant. Grant's here. Real quick, just a normal reminder. The whole first part of this, we're not going to be looking at chat at all. I won't be able to see it. Mods, if you could please let people know if they come in and say hi and ask questions and stuff. Make sure you remind them so they don't get left out. We've got a couple of links in the chat. One of those is for Saints Dust, and I think most of you guys are aware of what's going on there with him. But also one of them is for Grant himself. He's going through something. We're going to talk about it in just a minute. But thank you, everybody, for coming in and hanging out with us. Again, just hold off those questions to the second part. Chat is going away. It's gone. I can't even see chat. Okay, Grant, hi, first of all. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Make sure to smile. You don't want Annette mad at you.
I'll try my best.
That was perfect. Again, thanks so much for joining us. But you're going through, some tough times. Do you want to tell everybody what's going on and your trials and tribulations right now before we jump in with the rest of it?
Yeah, I can give a kind of a recap. So about the 20th of December, my left knee started clicking and popping more than normal, which has been a development this year. And the swelling had just gotten to the point that one time I was in the bath and I couldn't bend my leg. And I realized maybe something's wrong. So by the time January 3rd came around, I finally went to go see the doctor. They all sent me to the ER. Told me what to do next, and since then I've just been trying to follow their instructions. But since then, the swelling is pretty bad. Pain's hit or miss, but it's brought production to a standstill, and getting orders fulfilled is probably the hardest it's ever been. I've been sick recently the last few years, and I can deal with not breathing. Like, I'll just take my time. But with my leg, I can't do stairs. I can't carry stuff from downstairs. Even dropping stuff off at a carport, like the packages themselves. There are stairs there too. So I'm kind of at the mercy of gravity. Yeah.
And they don't know exactly what's going on yet with it. What's causing it? Do you know yet?
So first they thought it was a Baker's cyst, but an x-ray showed there was a lot of fluid in the knee. So they were immediately concerned that there was an infection. So that was how I got sent off to the ER so quickly. They ruled out an infection using blood work, but the issue itself is still there. I've had an ultrasound to make sure that it's not a blood clot. I have factor V Leiden, which is a blood disorder. Where your blood just coagulates much easier rather. So my first clot was at 14. That was an experience. So we've ruled out these little bits and pieces, but we haven't actually gotten the answer itself. I've got an appointment on February 1st, assuming that doesn't change again. The initial appointment was supposed to be today until the office found out the doctor was going to be on vacation. Which, I'd rather have a not stressed out doctor.
Yeah, but still.
I don't like help.
Yeah. So, and Crayfish Empire is your job, right? That's what you do, right?
Yeah, that's my main mode of income.
So you don't really have much income coming in right now at all because you can't get around.
Correct.
Yeah.
A side income is also some IT work, like contract work, but that involves like crawling through attics and running cable. And if stairs are going to take me out of commission, I'm not sure I can do an attic.
Yeah, I didn't know about the IT stuff. That's what I did forever. When I retired from IT. I've done all kinds of stuff as network administrator, web developer. At the last part of my career, I actually was break fix. I worked for local county government. I was help desk, and I absolutely loved it because I got to go hang out with people and talk and learn about them. So it's, but I do miss it. I really do. The 25 years I did.
Long time to do IT work.
Well, Geek Boy's done it for 40, I think he said, or 30 or 35. I can't remember what he said. He's been even longer in it. I came to it sort of late. I had a career before that. But this isn't about me. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
This is about you. This is about Grant. So, anyways, the link is in the chat there. If now we've got 2 of them, and I hope the mods will continue to drop those. And if you would also, drop Grant's both of his channel link and his store, crayfishempire.com. If you could drop those from time to time too, just so people know. But like you said, orders aren't really going out too much right now. You're having a difficult time, so people should be aware that it's going to take a little bit of time to get stuff until you get this sorted out, right?
So unfortunately, I've just completely shut down the checkout by removing all the shipping options.
Okay.
Because what I do have, it's going to run out. And then if anyone orders anything that's not made, like half the stuff I have, I just can't make it. So I'd rather people keep their money and, less chargebacks.
Yeah. You don't want to not be able to fulfill the orders. I get it. Well, okay. So that's a good way to start. Let's jump into a little bit about Grant, though. So let's see. I don't know a lot about you. We've met. We've got to hang out at the Keystone Clash. Not a whole lot, but we've got to talk a little bit. And I know that you live in Iowa.
Yep.
That's it. That's the extent of it.
Yeah.
I also know that I was a ginger beard, just like you. My beard used to look almost identical to yours, and I had a dark brown hair. So this could be in your future. I'm just saying, this might be your future here.
I already see the grays.
All right, so you live in Iowa. Where roughly in Iowa? What's the biggest town next to you, or what town do you live in?
So I'm in Des Moines, the capital.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So Matt lives in Iowa. All Things Fish lives in Iowa. Crystal. Geez, I know I'm forgetting people. I hate doing this. There's actually quite a few people there in Iowa. And I have to say, you guys have the worst weather in the country.
It's I'd have to say South Dakota is probably where I think the worst weather is.
But do they get the summers?
I have no idea.
You guys get some humid, hot. I mean, you'll get 100-degree summer, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think we normally get up to 110 each year.
See, so you've got the super high summer, you've got the super cold, negative temperatures in the winter. It's the worst. It's just the weather in Iowa just sounds horrible to me. It sounds horrible.
I think the worst part about the summer is that the heat waves always come when the corn sweats. And so we've got so much agriculture going on that when those plants perspire, it's like swimming through air.
Does it have a scent? Does it smell like cornfields?
I've never noticed a scent. I usually smell the rendering plants that are here in Des Moines.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So have you lived in Iowa your entire life?
Yep.
Born and raised.
I used to live in DeSoto, which is, I think that's east of here. And I moved to Des Moines when I was about 6.5.
Gotcha.
Well, I was moved. I didn't make the move myself.
Yeah. You drove the U-Haul when you were 6.
Yeah.
Obviously with your parents.
Yep.
Gotcha. So you've lived in Iowa your entire life. You have traveled a little bit, right? Is Iowa where you want to stay? Would you like to move somewhere else? Is it home?
So I've always wanted to move to Oregon. It's a state that I've never been to, but the temperatures sound nice. If it's wet, fine. It's not ice, at least. They don't use salt on the road, which would be really nice, or at least to my knowledge. But after traveling to a few different states, I know which ones I don't want to go to. So Montana, South Dakota, Florida, I can skip all those. Yeah.
And is there anything that you can tell us about those places that made you not want to go? Was it weather, or what was it?
So the IT stuff that I had mentioned, I usually do a lot of the traveling for that. And I have to say, if you live in Montana and you live near the mountains, you drive a lot better on the mountains than I do. I was terrified going down the hill. I was with Jerry. He's the one that gets all these jobs set up. And he woke up. It was like 2 a.m. We're driving through a snowstorm on the mountain. He looks over and he's like, oh, the tops of the trees are over there. I'm like, don't tell me that. I already don't want to be here, but now we're on the side of a mountain and I can't see the bottom.
Yeah. I understand that. I understand that feeling. My dad drove like a bat out of hell. Everywhere we went, he drove super fast. And I remember going Arizona, all over the Southwest, and going on like Pikes Peak, going up to Pikes Peak, and some of these roads that I knew he was going to drive us off the road because he just drove so badly. So I understand that feeling 100%. Yeah. But you obviously made it.
Oh yeah, we made it.
But that turned you off from Montana, though.
Well, once we got past the mountains, it was pretty cool. Like I think Missoula, Montana was basically a city in a hole, and like somehow some of those big shop or big box stores found this city in a hole in the middle of nowhere. It was really beautiful scenery, but the winter storms suck.
Yeah. Yeah. They get it bad. They do. You're right. They definitely get it rough.
I'd rather have Iowa winter than their winter. South Dakota, what was rough was every time I've gone through there, there's always been a snowstorm. And they don't shut down the interstate, it seems. So if you get on the interstate, you're stuck there until the next exit. But
they are used to storms as well, but there's not very many trees, right? I mean, it's just flat, and there's nothing to stop the wind. So they get those crazy, just whiteout conditions often from the blowing snow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense too. Florida's standing out to me though. Florida seems to be what's up with Florida?
The humidity just kills me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to have issues with asthma, and whenever I went down there when I was having those issues, I just couldn't breathe, and now I just get like short of breath. But the beach is nice.
Yeah.
But the sun, as fair skinned as I am, I don't mix well with the sun.
Gotcha. So all the traveling you have done, besides Oregon, is there any place else that you really, really enjoyed and would like to move to?
I really liked the mountains. I drove to the Keystone Clash from Des Moines. That was an insanely long trip. And but I think, and similar to Montana, the mountain views were just amazing. And
in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, Pennsylvania. I added 50 minutes to my trip to avoid toll roads. So I went all the way down to West Virginia, I think. And it was so cool to pop out of the mountains and just see like everything.
Yeah.
So,
beautiful places. You're right. Yeah.
But I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, in the end, anything with water, marine life, stuff like that, I enjoy.
Does it have to be marine? I mean, marine is salt, right? Isn't marine, or is marine any? I always thought marine was salt only, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's freshwater as well. I think marine's salt. I'm second guessing. Chat's going crazy right now because they're like, "No, you dumbass! It's this." I can't see you guys.
I've always thought of marine as like the salt water, and I've always pictured like the brackish deltas and stuff like that as being marine related.
Yeah, but like Lake Ontario, for example, giant freshwater lakes, I don't think is marine, right?
No,
I don't
think so.
Yeah, I think it's just called freshwater. See, now I'm second guessing myself 100%. There's a thing called stream brain. Then a lot of us have talked about it, something you get. Facts you absolutely 100% know, you don't know anymore when you get up on here and the cameras point at you. You just totally forget them. So it is a real thing. It does happen to a lot of us. Anyways, all right. So you would like to move someplace mountainous, but also maybe on the coast or something.
Yeah, and that's why I think Oregon would be a really nice place.
Yeah.
But I should probably visit before I go buy a place there.
Yeah, might be a good idea. Definitely very beautiful too. I've never actually been to the Pacific Northwest. It's on my bucket list of places to go because, I mean, just all the old growth trees, the mountains, all the water that's there, all the creeks and streams and lakes, and it just sounds like an amazing place to live. Washington, Oregon, just the whole Pacific Northwest. Even into Canada. I didn't mean it like that, but that whole area is just amazing. It's one of the most beautiful places on the planet, I think. It's definitely better than upstate New York and Iowa. I'll just say that.
Yeah, there's a lot of places better than Iowa.
Sorry, Matt. Okay. You know what? Let's start way back. We're going to jump into your working life, not so much your career, but just all the jobs you've had since you drove the U-Haul at 6 years old. What other jobs have you held throughout the years? You don't have to go through everyone, but if there's any ones that really stand out or were fun or really memorable, you can hit some of those.
So whenever there was something that needed to be done outside or on the roof, that was usually my job as a kid. So reasonably, but that was usually a task. I was a little more agile then. Around 12 years old, I was already into computers. Now I work a lot more with networking, but even though that terrifies me, I barely know how to open up the control panel. I will never forget the day that I had to ask the help desk, and they're like, okay, open the control panel and I'll give you something to type in. And their tech had to ask them where to find that. I was so embarrassed. But at about 12 years old, my first job contract was there was a hospital having an issue with their valet people stealing from vehicles. And so I got to help them set up a little hidden camera contraption in a Kleenex box. Yeah. They gave me either 60 or $70. And looking back, I kind of wish I did a better job, but I was prideful of doing it fast and being like, here you go. So that's when I started working more into the electronics and
Gotcha.
camera and surveillance and stuff.
How did you fall into that too? I mean, did your mom or dad or somebody work at the hospital, or how did you fall into getting that at 12?
So my mom was a lab tech at the hospital, and either she had an issue or someone she knew had an issue with the valet, and word got around that I was good with that. And so they're like, okay, well, we don't want to deal with this, so can your son just do it for us? So that was a pretty cool experience.
Did you catch somebody too? Did they catch one of the valets stealing?
Unfortunately, the camera that they used, they went with the cheapest camera that I told them would probably fit in a box. And so not only that, but also there was no battery in it, but also the vehicle that they used as the bait, the cigarette lighter turned off when you turn the car off. So as soon as they turned the car off, then the camera went off, and then the bait was gone. So
gotcha.
Yeah. It was a cool idea on paper, though.
Yeah. And your first paid job, right? The first paid outside of the family. I mean, I'm sure like most kids, you had chores you got paid to do, but outside of the family, that's your first paid job at 12.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, especially computer related. And what year was this roughly? I didn't want to hazard a guess on your age. I'm guessing you're 32.
Well, you're closer than some people. I had a post where I had people guess my age. I had turned 26 that year, and not everyone, the majority of guesses went for 36. But I am 27.
I'm sorry. See, that's why you should never guess ages.
No, I don't care. The stress is just showing through. It's all right.
Well, you don't look old, is my point. To me, 30s is very young. I don't think of 30s as, my kids are 30. I have kids that are 30. So that just, you look like my kids. So to me, that's young.
Mhm.
You actually do a little bit. You do, because both of my boys do have ginger beards and black hair, both of them. Actually, no, my youngest son is a ginger. He's got bright orange hair everywhere, just everywhere. Just he's like an orangutan. But my oldest son, you look a little bit like him. Yeah, a little bit. All right. So you did that. You had that as your first job. What came after that? Did that sort of make you want to go into working with computers then?
I've never really wanted to work with computers. It was just a really good skill to have.
Yeah.
I'd rather be my first line of defense before the IT help desk. But
Gotcha.
when I was 17, I wanted to get a motorcycle, and I had to get a job because the bank wasn't just going to give me money for, no income.
Yeah.
So I went to go work for a retail store, and that was an experience.
Yeah.
Everything from learning how to communicate and work with coworkers to having a boss,
Customers.
absolutely. The amount of times I had to do stuff that I didn't really want to do, I can't even keep track
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really good opportunity for people to have a retail job at least once in their life, because
Yeah.
I went from not talking to anyone, very low self-esteem, like hardly socialized. I just played video games most of my childhood. And then immediately, like 3 minutes after being trained how to wrap like ground beef and chicken breasts and stuff like that, they're like, all right, go help that customer. I'm like, okay, I'll try my best.
Be
So,
kind.
yeah.
Yeah.
It turns out when you get a secret shopper, when they say thanks, yep is not the correct answer. So I
Yep.
found that out. Yep.
But was that the only thing they dinged you for? Was just saying yep? Did did the secret shopper like all the rest of the customer service?
I passed the rest of it.
Oh, well, yeah. So that's
in
not
fact,
horrible.
every time after that there was a secret shopper, I was closing most nights, and I guess that's when the secret shoppers came in. And every single secret shopper experience I had after that, because I got a perfect score, I kept being put in the hat for a gift card drawing, which I got 2 of.
Nice.
So, yeah, there was some incentive to following instruction.
So it was a grocery store.
Yeah. Yep.
Was it a chain store, or was it like a single?
So it's kind of a smaller store. It's Hy-Vee for anyone that's in the Midwest.
I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever been to one, but I've seen it on stuff.
Yeah, you'll save money probably by not going there, but it's pretty expensive for some of the stuff they've got. But
And did you work in the meat department the whole time, or was it a little bit over in the meat department, a little bit over here, a little bit over there, or how did it work out?
so once I got a taste for money, I just wanted hours. I was young, I had energy, I loved caffeine. I'm like, let's do this. So I worked in the meat department, and once I found out that night shift was short, I'd work in the meat department from about 2 p.m. to close, which was 10. And then I'd take about a half-hour break in my own time, get something to eat, and then I'd work night shift from about 11 to 7 or 8 a.m. And then
Yikes.
go home, sleep, get back there by 2.
Yeah.
Eventually, I moved to the bakery, which was an interesting experience too. I got to make donuts, a lot of donuts.
Time to make the donuts.
Yeah. The really cool thing was, if I wanted a specific donut, I could just go to the shelf. I loved coconut, and no one had been making coconut for years. I'm like, I'm going to start adding coconut donuts to this. And, I could make them. I can put as much coconut on there and then take it up front, buy it, and then eat it.
Nice.
So that was a really cool experience.
And I agree. What you said earlier about sort of helping shape your social skills and stuff. Retail is great for that, but it's a shitty job for most people. You don't make the money that you should for what you put up with. And be kind to the retail people. They're just doing a job. They're not the ones that caused whatever your problem is. So you people, be nice to them. Be nice to your retail people. I did it too. I was well, at the time they were called green grocers, but produce. I worked for a chain. I was a produce manager. So absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved working in that environment. It was, sometimes I look back on it. I mean, I did that right before IT, and it was sort of my career when I was very young. I just gotten married to my current wife of 30 some years. I just gotten married to her. So it was enough to pay the bills, and it was fun. You know, we had a blast. Just, did you have like coworkers that you got along with, and you would go? It sounds like you have the time, but would you guys go out and party or go hang out and stuff with any of your coworkers, or not really?
The most that I got to hang out with coworkers outside of work was when they wanted a free ride home. So, sometimes I was in the mood for it. Other times I'm like, there's Uber and Lyft, right? Like, you're 30 minutes away from my home, so
yeah,
I don't really want to do this.
Yeah, it's not on your way. You're doing them a huge favor.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Go ahead.
I think the interesting part of some of the best bonds that I had made in retail were some of the trauma bonds that we'd have going through certain customer experiences. And so some of those people I still talk to.
Yeah. So you mean like you were both there when a bad customer came in or something like that?
Yeah, anything from, someone trying to fraud us, and Hy-Vee's the kind of store that would much rather just go, what, we'll take the $3 hit instead of proving a point to you.
Yeah.
To like projectile vomit across aisle 4. Which, when a parent comes up to me with 3 kids and are like, hey, I hate to be this person.
Yeah.
I'd much rather clean up the barf than trying to wrangle 3 children in a grocery store by myself. So like, I understood, but some of those messes.
Did you ever have a older person not make it to the bathroom? So I worked produce. I was in the back of our produce department, where we had our cooler and we did all the prep and stuff. And this older gentleman came back, and he's dancing, and he's like, I got to use the bathroom. Where's the bathroom? And there was no bathroom back there. It was way up in the other corner of the store. And I told him, and he just got this horrified look on his face and shit himself right there.
Yeah.
Right there. And you could just see it on his face. You could see it happening on his face, and it was not pleasant. And then he just, he left. He didn't say another word. It was there on the floor. You could smell it. And then he walked out, and I was just sort of stunned. Nobody else was around, and somebody else came back, and they're like, what'd you do? And I was like, it wasn't me. And I told them, and they didn't believe me. They thought it was me, and I was like, look, there's nothing here, Mm-hmm. So luckily though, because I was a manager, I had one of the bagger kids come back and clean it up instead. Yeah. They had to clean it up. Anyways, okay, so retail, what'd you do after that, after the Hy-Vee?
So through a mutual friend, someone knew a branch manager at a local bank that wanted to open up a location, and they whoops. Okay, you froze.
Did I freeze?
Yeah, I thought it might have been a connection issue on my end, but I didn't know like how permanent the freeze was.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, I didn't even notice it, so hopefully it was nothing. Looks like
so I went through the interview process. I'm like, you know what? I want to get out of Hy-Vee. I'll figure it out. I'll give them the chance to give me an offer. Like, what could be worse than retail? And so I did. I went through the interview process. I really didn't think I was going to get the job. One of the questions were, I told them about Crayfish Empire, and I told them, and my goal is to have Crayfish Empire sustain me. Like, I want that to be my main job. So
Wait. Before I don't want to interrupt your story, but so you had already started Crayfish Empire while you were still at High V as well. Then,
yeah, yep.
how long did you spend at High V?
I think about 4 years.
Okay, and when did Crayfish Empire come into? Was it before you even started there, or where did it? What point did Crayfish Empire start?
So Crayfish Empire started. The idea of it started in 2014.
Okay.
So I had the name, I had the crayfish, I enjoyed the crayfish, but I was so new to the aquatic industry. Like, I was basically a hobbyist with a name.
Yeah.
20 April of 2016, I decided to like really go with Crayfish Empire. And I started off with like $30 on a Walmart cash card. And I ordered stuff off of Wish. And once it finally got here, I'd sell it on Craigslist. And there was a shortage of sponge filters in 2016 that was just, it was amazing for me. I was marking up some of these filters by $2 or $3 profit. And there was this guy that's like, I need filters, and you have these filters, and everywhere else is out of stock. And so he bought every single filter off of me.
Wow.
So that was an awesome start. I was so excited. It was like a $40 or $50 sale, and that was the most money I'd ever made with Crayfish Empire. I'm like, yay, I made like $15 or $18 profit.
Right place at the right time, really, because just happened to have them right when. I wonder why there was a shortage.
I have no idea. I went to go reorder them, and like, he was right. There was nothing anywhere.
Huh? That's weird.
Yeah.
Shows how many companies actually make them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it comes down to it.
Probably all comes from the same place.
Yeah. Yeah. When it comes down to it, I mean, if there was that big of a short, there must not be that many companies, at least back then, that were making them. You know. Okay, so Crayfish Empire really got up and running really in 2016. That was really
It started.
Yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't. I think the best year, the first good year of growth. I'm having trouble finding my words.
String brain.
Yeah. Was 2019. And so that was a lot of live foods. Microworms and Daphnia floated me through that. And that paid a lot of bills. If anyone has microworms, Daphnia, vinegar eels, seed shrimp, ostracod, scuds, each sale is a little bit of work to bag those up. And you have to deal with USPS or UPS or whoever you're going to ship to. But once you build a customer base and you get referrals, that can supplement, a classroom's income for supplies, homeschooling, your own income, build up a college fund for the kids just selling duckweed and Daphnia. Like, it works.
and live Daphnia, obviously, right? You're not talking, yeah. Gotcha. I need to get Daphne again. It's been a while. Okay, so you had this in mind, but you obviously weren't making enough yet to make that your full time. So you were honest with the bank, and you told them, "Hey, this is where I want to go," but they still wouldn't take a chance on you, huh?
So what surprised me was that they did. So they asked me the question. So in 5 years, where do you see yourself, like, position wise in the bank? Immediately, without missing a beat, my response was, not here. And they're like, oh, okay. And I saw the look on their face. I'm like, I'm gonna be but like a week and a half later, they called back and they're like, hey, so when can you start? Like, let me see how fast I can put my 2 weeks in.
Gotcha. And how long did you spend at the bank then?
Probably about a year and a half.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Oops. I wouldn't. You can still hear me.
Yeah, we can still hear you fine. About a year and a half, and take your time there, no hurry.
Nope, my
The phone just went to sleep or something.
I've been ignoring a system update, and I guess it really wanted me to do that system update.
That's what timing.
I'm gonna try to connect this really quick.
Okay. Again, no hurry. We can hear you just fine. So, you know what? While you're working on that, I'll open up the chat. Oh no, you're back.
Yep. Gonna try to not show my messes.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
Believe me, this room, this office, it doesn't look too bad from what you see, but I mean, you can see over here, there's piles. There's my garbage can. I mean, this room is, especially right here, my desk goes from here over to the corner back over here, and it is just like filled. It is just filled all the way across. So
Mine too. It's pretty bad.
well, you've got a good excuse though. You're trying to run a business. I'm just a lazy old man. That's all my excuse is. I mean, I got no real excuse. Okay, so a year and a half at the bank.
Yep.
And then was computer stuff next, or what was next after the bank?
So what I thought was really cool was while I was at the bank, it was such a slow branch that I was able to do a lot of Crayfish Empire work there. And so, like Saturdays, I'd get roped in on coming on Saturdays. No one wanted to go. I had nothing else to do. I don't have kids. I don't have like a family, you know. Let the other people spend time with their family and let me get paid.
Yeah.
I'd order like the Merimo moss balls and do like the cost analysis and all that. And like try to message sales while I was there. After the bank, I'd quit the bank and I just did Crayfish Empire full time.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. It was a little rough at the beginning, like $50 in sales each month, but you know, it was a start.
Yeah. And that was again 2020, 2019, end of 2019? No, 2021. Didn't know you had to do math.
Maybe 2018, 2018, somewhere in there.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's been a while then since Crayfish has been your main focus then.
Yeah. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. And you still do the IT stuff sparingly, just whenever you need a little bit extra cash or something, or they've got a job that fits, or do you not do the IT stuff now? Was that just a fill-in for a while?
So whenever Jerry gets a contract, if it's something that he needs a second person for, or if it's a break fix, like Bath and Body Works, I get to go out and do Victoria's Secrets. I get to go out and do that limited brands, basically all the stuff underneath that. It's not often now, and it probably won't be very often while my legs recover. But I think the coolest jobs I had were decommissioning banks, because I already knew all the procedures, and I just had to wait for everyone to get all their stuff out of the way so I could go work. Especially if it was money, because I couldn't touch that.
Was decommissioning banks, was there a lot of those?
So I don't know if I'm allowed to say like the bank name, so I'll just say a bank.
Sure.
But they shut down probably about 20 locations throughout South Dakota and North Dakota.
Wow.
And they had already purchased a property, like another property in the town that they were shutting down in. It was evident that they were getting rid of all the people that had built up pensions, people that had higher pays and stuff like that. But also trying to get out from underneath the landlord's thumb. So just go in there, take down all the network racks, servers, stuff like that, phones, access points. But my favorite part was that you could go through the trash. I have my favorite tape roller that I got from North Dakota. I asked the guy, like, "Is this yours?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Can I have it?"
You mean the tape gun thing, like
Yeah.
that? Or- Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like one of those Scotch ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny. Favorite part is good. Now, did you ever have any like big mistakes or anything that happened while you were decommissioning?
There were no mistakes, but there was one time a miscommunication. There was a U.S. bank here in Iowa that was decommissioned, and like the main decommissioning had already happened before we got there. We were given the password to get in, and that was the wrong password. So the alarms just went off.
Oh,
And this is right across the street from the police department. So, two
yeah,
bearded guys just walking through a bank alone in a bank that's been closed for a couple months looked a little weird.
yeah.
It took 3 hours for the police department to respond.
Jesus, and it's right across the street.
Right across the street.
You know what it was? It was those coconut donuts that you made at Hy-Vee. They were all over there having those because they were so good. That's what it was. And so,
That's a really good idea. I'll have a distraction late or up for next time.
I bet you that's what it was. Now, the reason I asked that, and I'll tell the story super quick, but again, IT guy, I had gone on vacation, and while I was on vacation at my work, they were finishing up a whole new network, all new network. So, and with the new one we were going with, it was still Cat 5e for the older network, and it was all blue. And the whole new network was Cat 6, and it was all white. Well, when I came back from vacation, my boss says, go up in this area and pull out all the blue cable. So I went up there and I started snipping and cutting all the blue cable, and all of a sudden there was no network in the front of the building. And he come up, he yelled at me, and I yelled back. I mean, we didn't yell right there. I went back to his office, and he started yelling at me, and I was like, I was like, what did you say? What did you say? You said cut all the blue cables in that area. What did I do? I followed your directions to the T. So it was, he calmed down and he realized he had made a mistake and stuff. It wasn't my fault, but it shut down that's where all the executives were. So the entire front of the office with, the president, the CEO, all the big wigs at the company, they didn't have any network. And,
Whoops.
hey, I did what he told me to do, So I just wondered if you had ever had something like that. But I think yours is better. Especially because the cops took 3 hours to show up.
Like that. So the police chief was the one that responded, and the only information he could get was there are people in there that weren't supposed to be there because, again, miscommunications. We were supposed to be there, just not according to them. But his backup showed up, and I thought he was acting a little weird, and he got closer. None of the lights were on because it was decommissioned. And he was trying to ask me questions, and I couldn't understand him. And his eyes were so red. I know there's not like a whole lot going on in this town, but
yeah.
The cables you cut reminded me. I did do a job in a memory care unit, and that was for a whole 2 weeks. I almost cried one day. Like, it was rough because like some of these people thought I was their son.
Yeah.
Anymore. So
yeah.
There was one night I was so shaken up by that, like frustrated. Like they were emotional, which made me emotional. And I was trying to cut a Cat 6 cable. They gave us just enough cable to run all the cables and then have like 300 feet extra. Didn't want to send too much. Like,
no.
don't send us prepared.
Yeah.
And I cut the wrong cable. So we had to run that whole cable again through all the firewalls. I had to redo the firewall putty. Had to put new labels up for the new firewall putty. I don't really want to do that again.
Yeah, yeah. And the mistake was really because of the situation, right? We probably weren't focusing because of, gotcha. Yeah, those places are difficult to be. Yeah, I get it. It would
Especially
definitely be
after
hard.
2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing all these people's faces light up when you walk in there, and
Oh man, I've got a story for you. There was this lady, I can't remember her first name, but like as soon as she saw me, she could not take her eyes off of me. She was one of the residents. And I'm like, oh boy. There are so I'll share with you some of the stories I probably can't share on here sometime.
I have one of those as well. Same kind of thing.
The and for the first week she just kept like trying to get close, and her eyes were just locked on my red beard. And the very last day she blocked me in the hallway and we were talking like most of these people, to get people to stop, they just blocked them. I'm like, okay, I'm used to this. And she just like kept staring at my beard. I'm like, do you want to touch the beard? And she's like, and it probably made her week.
Yeah.
She was so excited after that.
And she didn't explain or anything like it might have her son or might have of her husband or something, nothing like that. She didn't tell you why the beard. I mean, it is a very sexy beard. I mean, not to lie, but I mean, you'd think that there was something that was drawing her to it.
I think a lot of people in memory care units are just super horny. They are just uncontrollable. She had 3 or 4 boyfriends in there, and it only housed like 22 or 23 residents. So
I hear those stories about STDs being rampant at some of these homes. So that makes sense, and I can see that. Because just because you get old, people doesn't mean that goes away. You still want all that. Just saying.
Yeah. I saw a lot of stuff there.
We'll have to after, because I have a story as well, but I'd rather not share here too. But it wasn't me; it was a friend of mine. But we won't go into it. Okay, so that's it. We covered all the work history, right? Was there any other jobs that stood out, or was that everything that you?
So I did help people set up Shopify websites when Crayfish Empire was just starting. So when I quit the bank, I'd help people for about $300 get their website set up. I'd show them around Shopify, how to set things up. Shopify has grown a lot since then. They've also changed a lot of stuff, and some of the stuff I don't understand. So I stopped doing that a few years ago. But a side gig I do now is I also make a lot of stickers. So like all my stickers on all my products are done in-house. So over there, I've got the Cameo, and I use the Silhouette software to cut out all that stuff.
Gotcha. Nice. So that's cool. And so you design stickers, and you enjoy doing the graphic arts part of it too?
I'd say at the beginning, I really enjoyed it. I like a challenge. So I do enjoy the challenges. I was just working on a top secret project earlier this week, and I probably had to Google about 50% of all the stuff I had to do to get that to work the way I wanted it to. But the challenge is what I like. And then for the person that wants it done, whether it's the stickers for their business, for a school, a home school, stickers to give their kid or whatever, I definitely enjoy seeing like the happiness and the appreciation from that more than the work itself. Yeah.
I just don't have any skill to do that kind of, the tech side of it. Yeah, that's no problem. But it's the actual graphic design. I even had to do some of it, and I made it work. But anybody who actually did graphic design for a living, if they saw how I put it together, would have died laughing. It was just wrong, but it worked for the company that I was working for at the time, and they never complained about it. So I guess I did well enough.
Yeah, that's all that counts.
Yeah. Okay, why don't we shift gears again and go into what time is it? Oh, geez, we've got 10 minutes left before we open up to the chat. Sometimes it just flows and the time just goes by so quick. Other times, for whatever reason, it's not the guest, it's me. It's more difficult, but tonight is flying by. Are you comfortable enough, or do you need to do anything for your leg, or do you need to get a drink? Do you need to take a break at any time? I mean, if you need to do anything, we can take a break.
You know what? My hands are just getting cold is all. So I'm just, my blood circulation has sucked. The fact that I regularly lose feeling to most of my left foot's toes is not really a concern for the doctors right now. But it is for me. So It's either the swelling from the knee or just the cold. But I'll be good now.
My buddy Ed's got that. Chattanooga Ed. You met him at the Clash, probably. He's got the same thing, but it was because of a bad back, and he lost feeling in a lot of his foot because of a problem with his back. So, I mean, doctors aren't too concerned, but oftentimes I found that you got to tell the doctor, this is what I want you to look at, for whatever reason. Okay, well then, if you're okay, we've got just a few minutes left. How about let's talk about hobbies real quick. Do you still like to play video games? Do you like to read? Is there any hobbies that you do in your spare time? Which it sounds like you don't have a lot of, except right now because you're sort of down.
Laid up.
Yeah.
So I enjoy video games now. There are a couple customers that I'll play video games with if I'm all caught up on stuff. One of them even streamed. What were you saying?
What kind of games do you like? What genre do you play?
I'm pretty open-minded. I'm not a huge fan of like the mass online or mass multiplayer online role-playing games.
Yeah, like WoW and stuff like that. You're not a big fan of?
No, I get my ass kicked too easily.
Okay.
A game that I really enjoy playing right now is something called Satisfactory. It's an early release. I really enjoy that.
I get that. I have not played that one, but I've played other ones like it. There's a lot in that factory, and I like those too because for anybody who doesn't know, those types of games, it's a puzzle. It's so intertwined. You got to have enough of this to do this, to get this working, and then you got to build. It's just all connected, and I love it. It's everything's so connected. When you're doing it right, and finding that new resource or whatever that you didn't currently have, and you want to make this whatever the widget is that you want to make, and now you can all of a sudden you can make it, and now that automated this process, and now it's just so much fun. I love those kind of games.
Yeah,
I didn't know they were multiplayer. It's multiplayer Satisfactory?
Yeah, so you can do up to 4 players. The multiplayer portion of it, there's a lot of bugs compared to single player. But despite those bugs, it's always been worth it, especially to play with the people I play with. Gotcha.
That's a big part of it too. Even with games like WoW, once you're in with a good group of people, it changes it. Because I used to play some of those types of games. One called Asheron's Call, I played for decades. I was going to say decades, but it was about 12 years. And it was because of the people. You get in with a good group of people in any game, and it's going to make it better. Just like our community here, just the group of people that we have made the hobby so much better for me at least. And I know a lot of other people feel the same way, that being able to share with everybody. That's a big part of it. So, okay. So those kind of games, do you play like any RPGs or anything like that?
Sorry, just a second. I'm
yeah, that's right. Yeah. No hurry. There's so many cables. We'll open it up to the chat here in just about 5 minutes or so. So get your questions ready for Grant. This one went really quick so far.
All right. Sorry about that.
No problem. No problem at all. I was just laughing at you a little bit.
That's about the only thing I can do now, too.
Okay, so what any other genres that you like RPGs? Are you into those at all, really, or like Witcher, or Skyrim, any of that kind of stuff?
I definitely enjoy RPGs. Unfortunately, most of the ones I enjoy were made by Bethesda, so most of them are like 60% broken, and I just can't play some of those anymore.
I never had an issue with their games. I'm a huge fan. I've played all the Fallouts since the very first one, which wasn't even them, right? But Fallout 1 and 2. I didn't play Fallout Tactics, but then 3 came out, which was Bethesda, and I've enjoyed all of their games. Daggerfall was their first Elder Scrolls one. I used to play that on the PC way back in the day. It was one of the first open world games, and I absolutely loved it. And I've played all of them since. I'm a big fan of that whole series. But I also Starfield, I didn't think was that bad. It's not. I don't know. There's a lot missing from it. It's not a great game, but I think it will be. I think that they'll continue, like they normally do. They continue to patch. They continue to change. And I think at some point it's going to be a really good game. But right now it's okay. There's nothing super broken in it, but it just doesn't really hold my attention. So I don't know. Hopefully it'll get there. So, okay. What about any other hobbies real quick? We just got a couple minutes before I want to open it up. But if there's any other hobbies that you like to do, in your spare time.
Kayaking. Absolutely.
Nice.
I love kayaking. I used to, when I was kayaking, because I didn't kayak last year, and I'm probably not kayaking this year, but whenever I kayaked last, I'd take a little grabber out with me, and I just clean up all the trash, because I was going to like these isolated corners of these ponds where even people fishing couldn't get to. And the most challenging and interesting finds I always thought or found were like the fishing lines, either get stuck in a tree, or like a fish finally, got it out of their mouth and it's just laying somewhere.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do any like rescues or anything, like getting stuff off of animals, thankfully. But that was really fun, because I just show up with all this trash on my boat, and people like loading or unloading from the boat ramp just looks at me like,
yeah,
why do you have all that trash?
Because you're a dumbass and you put it here.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you want to say? Because, people do just throw their beer cans or whatever and
their foam worm holders.
Yeah.
So many of those.
Yeah. That's funny. Kayaking was my life for so long, until I same thing as you're going through right now. My health wouldn't allow me to do it very much anymore. And I miss it all the time. I absolutely loved it. I live right on Lake Ontario, so my kayak still sits right by the water right here. I've got a PFD, I've got a paddle. I could easily just go start. But I did the same thing. I didn't have a grabber, but I would just go, I always took a bag with me, and I would always pick up the garbage, any garbage that I see, and bring as much home as I could. And hopefully somebody sees you doing it, and maybe it makes them stop and think, oh, maybe I shouldn't just leave my garbage laying here for somebody else to pick up. Probably not, but so we definitely have that in common. Kayaking was my life for so long. I just absolutely loved it. Go ahead.
I think my most interesting experience was I came up on a guy who was trying to fish with an open face reel, and ever since I had that, I've just always fished with an open face reel. I can't catch anything, like nothing ever bites, but I know how to fish with an open face reel. And even from across the pond, I could tell like he did not run his line correctly. He was holding it on the top side. He was trying his best. So I came over, and he's like, "Hey, can you help me?" And I finally got out of my kayak without dropping all the trash everywhere. I helped him. And we traded numbers after chatting for a little bit. And this is the only time I've ever been offered this, like out picking up trash. But he's like, "You want to do cocaine?" I'm like, I really appreciate it. But no.
let's do some cocaine and go fishing. I don't think I've ever heard that either. That's hilarious. What I it doesn't those don't seem to go hand in hand to me. Nature is just so relaxing and just so, and
Saying like, oh, it just makes you really chill. And I'm just thinking back to the Elvis picture with his helpers. Like he's dead set on whatever he's doing, and one person's like paranoid, and the other one's like, and I'm like, I don't want any three of those things happening to me.
That's that is funny. That's the weirdest place. I mean, I've definitely been offered in other places that make more sense, but never like out fishing or anything like that. That is. Although I guess I was hiking one time and somebody did offer us some LSD. So
that would have made an interesting hiking trip.
It did.
Yeah.
It was a camping trip. It was a camping trip. It was fun. Anyways, let's go ahead and open it up to the chat on that. And, again, I don't feel like this happens quite often. I don't feel like we really even scratch the surface. I feel like there's so much more we could talk about. So I haven't even started scheduling the second go arounds, but I definitely would like you to come up in the future again to do a second one, so that because I feel like there's so much we didn't talk about. So, okay, now's a good time. Hello, everybody. Oh, the chat's going crazy over here. I got to wait for it to catch up.
Uh-oh.
It's going to take a minute. You know what? I'm going to refresh it, and hopefully because it is just like flying.
28, it looks like.
What's that?
I'm seeing a number 528 next to the chat icon.
Oh, up there. Yeah. That's how many messages have gone since we started. Okay. So the very first one I see, I see Lav was here. Lav. There's Lav.
I got a message for her. She emailed me like in August when I was dying last year, and I never got back to her.
When I was dying. We didn't talk about that. You were dying in August?
Yeah.
That's when you were really sick.
The last couple of years, about 1 to 2 times a year, I get hit with a really bad respiratory, like an upper respiratory, and it just knocks me on my ass. And
gotcha.
Between all the angry emails, where's my stuff? Or when, I'm just trying to like survive to the next day and I'm laying in bed. It was just exhausting, and I just haven't even gotten back to those emails.
I get it. I don't have a business, but there's times when I am down for a week, and I don't even really have responsibilities, so to speak, but just friend responsibilities. Checking in with people, and relationship responsibilities. Even that can be trying when you're not feeling so good. So it's so awesome to see you, though, Lav. She says, Rico and Grant, I adore you both for when you open the chat. Fangirl screams. And it's awesome to see you. It's been forever. We were talking about you the other day. So the very first question I see, and I'll feed these to you as I see them here. Sure. And thank you, Zen Ginger, for dropping that. Thank you. I see your links are being dropped all the time. There we go. Paul says there are now battery-powered kayaks. Yep, I actually have one. I do. So there's a company called Bass Yaks. I can't remember where. I feel like they're out of New Hampshire. I can't remember. They're out of the Northeast somewhere. The guy that actually gave me my kayak. It was a friend of mine where I used to work. He gave me a really nice kayak, but he was an angler, and he had this all set up to had a little electric trolling motor on it, a little 12-volt battery, and it had the speed thing right in the middle, and it was all set up. So I just need to buy the trolling motor again, but mine's all set up for a battery and the fish finder with the transducer and everything. So
that's cool.
It's pretty neat. And hi, Paul. Okay, so the first question then is Killer Kitty. Hi, what's your favorite saying or quote, and why? Is there something you say often, or is there something you just really like, a quote or phrase? See, there's going to be a lot of thinking because there's a lot they got.
I think it's still on my Facebook wall, but the cover photo or the wall or banner, I don't know what they call it, but in essence, it was saying you have two hands, one to like pull yourself up and one hand to pull the next person up. And
Barrel full of monkeys. That's what that reminds me of. It's just, sort of the arms akimbo kind of thing.
That the barrel full of monkeys might be easier than real life.
Yeah, I like it. Mark Strilson wants, and this is probably the most difficult question. It's the Myrtle question, and Myrtle, great kid, because he is a kid, very smart, very intelligent person. He's been one of my favorite people in the community for a very long time. In fact, he's one of the few people I ever did a shout out video for. But Myrtle has asked, or somebody has asked for him, just about every single stream, what would I change about you, and what would you change about me? And mine's going to be easy this time, because I would take away the issues that you're having, both with the respiratory stuff that you get hit with every year and with your knee. So your health issues, I would take those away from you and let you get back to work, and let you, because it seems like you really, really enjoy what you're doing now with Crayfish Empire, and it's killing you to not be able to fulfill your obligations.
Yeah, the stress isn't fantastic. It'd be cool if that went away.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I talked to you more at the Clash. I know we met at like the very last day. So I had a better answer for this.
Don't feel bad, because again, the focus of this is you. You're not supposed to learn that much about me. If you're learning a lot about me in this conversation, then I'm doing it wrong. So don't feel bad if you don't have an answer. And if you don't, not a big deal. We can go along. And next time we do one of these, then you'll have an answer.
When I worked retail, I cleaned up barf, I cleaned up pee, but I never had to clean up poop. And I'm so happy. I feel like I just dodged a bullet. I wish I could take an experience of having been pooped in front of. From anyone that works in retail.
Nobody in retail should ever have to deal with it. Nobody anywhere, unless you're a parent, should have to deal with another human being shitting right in front of you. Foxanne would say, hi, Foxanne. Grant, if you could be any color mystery snail, which one would you be?
I love the purple.
Yeah, magenta. Yeah.
I'm
Me too.
like a Darkfoot purple. That's I like blue, I like purple, and for a long time I know those were like a commodity on the invertebrate market. So
not so much anymore though, right? They're a lot more commonplace.
I've noticed that a lot more people have them, but I also think that to an extent there's a genetic bottleneck, and so some customers message me everything they're doing for the snails, and are like, these shells are just so brittle, they die young, like what's going on? And I have to explain to them, like, these aren't snails that came out of the wild. Like, it's not an L1 pleco. These are snails that have been, like, their genetics have been in this industry for at least 70 years. I don't know when they first got brought into the industry, and sometimes it's just a genetic issue. And so while I think the availability of them came up, I think certain lines have been inline bred too much. And
gotcha.
So while they're there, some of them aren't fantastic quality. Gotcha.
Okay. Big Cat's next. Hi, Big Cat. Does Grant believe in aliens?
I think from what I remember, there's been bacteria found on at least a planet. I'd consider that an alien. If there hasn't been, I'm inclined to believe that there is life somewhere other than Earth.
I'm with you. I just, I can't believe that we're all alone in all those planets. And like a lot of people have said, doesn't mean that we've been visited. I have no idea about that, but I just have to. And maybe there's not even spacefaring races. They just might be. You know what I mean? They might just be where we were 1,000 years ago, whatever. But I just have to imagine that they're out there. So, Nathan, what's up, Nathan? It just jumped. I got to get back to it. Here we go. Nathan says, oh, and this is Nathan's standard question. So, everybody can only keep one species of fish. Which fish is it? Everybody that's the only one available for fish keeping. What fish would you like to see that be?
Neolamprologus similis. That is my favorite Shelly.
I was going to say it's a shell dweller, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't even know much about them.
I think.
What is it about that fish that just talks to you?
So that was my first Shelly, my only Shelly. They were hard to get a hold of then, and I still cannot find them now. So it'd be really cool to get them again. But
gotcha.
They hatched babies like a week after I got them, and that was just really cool.
Yeah, that is. Even with the guppies, when I first saw that first fry, I was so excited, and now I'm like, oh god, there's
another baby
fry. Now I have just a few in this 75, and I use the net and feed them to the bluegill quite often. I take the fry out because I don't want a bunch of guppies anymore. So it's sort of just another live food for my bluegill. There's a second part to that question too. What fish should not be in the hobby that currently is?
A fish that I've noticed a lot of my friends have and then finally get rid of were arowanas. And a lot of them had experiences with drop eye, or I think it's called drop eye. But basically that, like in the wild, they'd be looking up for their prey, but when they're in a fish tank, they're not really looking for prey. And if anything, they're looking down to make sure their tank mate doesn't pick on them, or so they can find the food that's been dropped in. I know a lot of people say it doesn't really affect their quality of life, but when it's that disfiguring of like a change of their body just because of that environment, I think it's something where if someone has an arowana and it has that, giving an environment for them to grow as naturally as possible and be as natural as possible, I think is the best way.
I wasn't aware of that. I've never kept them. I know a lot of people here in the chat do have them. I see Whip right there. He's got one. And I honestly, I've never really looked into them that much, and I wasn't aware of that being a thing. So does it happen to quite a few of them? Is it rampant? Is it just a few in the hobby, or how widespread is it?
So there are so many arowana types. I at least know of two, and I don't know much about arowanas because I just see them in a tank and I'm like, I'm not getting an arowana, so I'm not going to look this up. As soon as I start getting interested in a fish, like I want it.
Yeah.
But I know there's I think the silvery looking ones experience it frequently. And then I've heard before that other, I don't want to say types or morphs, but types or morphs are less prone to that. But it doesn't seem to have a mal effect on their health. It's just not what the biology intended.
Yeah, I'm with you because my answer to that question is well, it's actually common plecos for what we shouldn't have, but I always think about the guppies that have the tails that are so long that they can barely swim, or the gonopodiums that are just, when they're handicapped by them. And it's with that in any, like pugs for dogs. We've had 2 pugs. I would never buy a pug from a breeder. I don't want to, I would love to see the pugs sort of revert. So, and there's sort of been a little bit of that going on so that they don't have the breathing problems. But anything across the board like that, where we're breeding a cosmetic thing to these animals and hurting them, it just needs to stop. It shouldn't we shouldn't be able to do it. We shouldn't be able to do it. If it's actually affecting that animal's quality of life, then we shouldn't be able to do it. We shouldn't be free to mess with these things just to make them cuter or whatever. It's wrong. I think it's immoral, to be honest. Okay, sorry, didn't mean to preach. Zenny says, would you rather fight off 1,000 crayfish-sized great white sharks or one great white-sized crayfish?
I'll take the 1,000 small ones. That's,
I don't know, man, because even those 1,000 little great white sharks could, they could like piranhas, in the cartoons, how they just, everything's gone,
I am terrified of mandibles. Insects, crayfish,
Really?
hermit crabs. Because I don't know what's behind it. I don't know, and I don't know their intent, but like all I see are just these things like.
Yeah.
Just something in me says, don't put my hand next to that. So when crayfish would like get me with their big finger or their big claw, and then pull themselves up to it just as a natural reaction to having something in their claw, all I can think of is that my finger's getting closer to their mouth, and it might just tickle. I have no idea. I've never taken the time to figure that out.
It's funny because Crayfish Empire, but it'd be like I don't know, you're the most famous pizza maker, but you're allergic to pizza. It's sort of the same type of thing. It's sort of ironic that you would be as afraid is the word, maybe, but of the mandibles.
I think it could easily be considered a phobia. I don't mind if they pinch me, but keep them out away from me.
So you don't like Zoidberg from Futurama then?
I love Futurama. Zoidberg was an interesting character to add some flair to the show.
I had a blue crayfish, blue lobster was what it's marketed at, but one of the blue ones, and his name was Zoidberg. I love that guy. He was one of my favorites. Okay, next up is Whip. He says, whether Grant was considered a daredevil or a dumbass for doing it by his friends and family, what was his most memorable holy shit moment?
Do you want to
That's a good question too. So, regardless of what your friends and family thought of you for doing it, like if they were like, wow, that was cool, or why'd you do that? What was your most memorable, like, holy shit, like, I can't believe I just did that, just to, something like that kind of moment, either terrifying or crazy or you made a basket from a football field distance away or something. I mean, anything like that, just weird. Or have you ever had anything like that?
I was just sharing this with a friend earlier this week, and that might be why it's come up as an answer. I went to a leadership convention called Boy State in Iowa. And for those that aren't familiar with it, a bunch of people from VFWs around will come, and it's a week-long leadership like training. And I almost won an election because we had to hold like public office elections for this week. I almost won an election by upside down wall twerking.
Upside down what?
Wall twerking.
Wall twerking.
That was the first week I'd ever done that, and I was pretty good.
Well, maybe that's what's happened to your leg.
Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe because I haven't been doing it, maybe that's just why they got weaker. Maybe that more.
So is it exactly what it sounds like? Upside down, you're on your hands?
Yep, with feet up on the wall, and
you're twerking.
Yep. I think what helped me then was that I was skinnier than a lot of the people there. So like I didn't have all the blood rushing to my head. But I did it. I was only like 16 or 17 votes short. out of 500.
Now, are there younger people at this event, or is it all adults or young adults and then the VFW people? Is there kids there, or is it mostly like older, at least adults?
So, like the counselor staff and the adults in charge of us were all adults, from like 21 to 80, whatever, however old some of the people were. But as far as the participants, it was specific to people going from their junior year of high school into their senior year of high school.
Okay.
So I was twerking for peers.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the only reason I ask is the only experience I have with the VFW is drinking a lot of beer. That was what
find it.
That was what the VFW was for. Was we just drank a lot there. So that's why I was curious if that event, but if it had the kids, then obviously not. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. Dapper Dennis says, okay, is there a person from history that you would like to sit down and have a conversation with? And this is a two-parter as well. That's the first part. Is there somebody from history that you would like to meet and have a conversation with?
That'd be hard. Being in the animal industry, well, not even really industry, but I like to observe wildlife a lot. It's cool to get the interactions interactions, sometimes interventions, with wildlife. I've got so many deer, birds, bats, snakes, raccoons, like everything that's outside is in my backyard. That it would be really cool to talk to Steve Irwin.
I knew that's where you were going. I knew it. Yeah, I'd like crikey. Just that he was just so energetic about nature, though. But I figured that's where you were going. As soon as you said nature, I was trying to think of nature people from, and the other one I was thinking of was the guy, Jack, what's his name? He used to be on the Johnny Carson show. He'd always come out with the animals. Anyways, there's a second part to that. Is there an era that you would like to visit? 1950s, 1500s, anything like that you would like to go back and experience?
I kind of like our medical advances in the current year. I kind of want to keep going that direction, but assuming that I won't get like a mosquito bite and die wherever I go back to, I think the 1930s in the US would have been a really interesting time. And I say that because a lot of people had to adapt, especially financially. And, since I had moved from my parents' house, that has been a big part of my life. That's why, like right now, financial issues are on the rise, but I've never not made it through it. I've always been able to find a way to adapt and get stuff done. So that would be a really interesting thing to watch. I know you've heard the expression piss poor.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where that comes from?
I do not.
So
I do not. And I love to look that type of stuff up too, but I've never looked that one up.
So hopefully I'm not misspeaking, but people would collect their urine in pots and bring them to the tanner or the tannery, and they would use the urine to treat the
the skin.
And they'd get paid for their pee, so they were piss poor.
It makes sense. I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe it. Piss poor. I definitely know that phrase. I've lived it for quite some time. Okay. It jumped again. I got to scroll back up. Okay, we got that one. We got Dennis's. And again, anybody, please do the @RicoStan, because I'm just sort of skipping through and looking for that. So if I've missed your question, the next one I'm on is Mountain Greeneries right now. So if your question was above that, I did miss it, and please post it down below again for us. Could you ask Grant if he could live in any of his aquariums? Which one would it be and why?
I think my biggest aquarium is like a 10-gallon, maybe a 20. So that'd be really hard to fit in there. That was the question, right? Or
I didn't really flesh it out like I normally do. So you could be you, but you're shrunken down to fit into the tank, or you could be like a shrimp or something, a denizen of the tank already. It's your choice on what you want to be, but which one and why would you? You know, if you're going to be you, why? And if you're going to be a shrimp, you know, that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have tanks now, so that I'm going to use like a previous tank. I had a tank of convict cichlids. So if I was me, and maybe those convict cichlids weren't going to like tear me to bits like they do every other fish, I really enjoyed the caves that I put in there, the hiding spots that I put in there. But there was also a huge footprint, and so I like my space. There are 5 city lots around me that surround my house, and I really like the space of no people around me. So a nice open tank with hiding spots, but also no people.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We share that too. That's another thing we have in common. I'm the same way. Jenna P. Hi, Jenna. She's got the Freaky Friday question. You've seen the Freaky Friday movies. So in this instance, it can be you changing place with other people. It could be 2 other people. But who would you like to see from our community change bodies for a weekend or a week or whatever it is? Again, it could be you. You could be one of them, or it could just be 2 other people. It's whatever you want.
I'd probably change places with Annette.
Yeah.
Yeah. She'll send me messages like, "Hey, so we're gonna do this." It's not as much now. She knows I'm on board with it now. But when she had to get me out of my shell, I always wondered, like, if people knew the amount of anxiety that I went through going through some of those. Like, they'd be normal situations. I'm not in danger at all. But as I shared with you before the stream, and I shared with her, like, I was fucking terrified before the stream. Like, my nervous parts and everything.
Yeah.
So
listen, I've done 1,000 live streams, 1,000 maybe. I mean, I live stream 5 days a week during the day, and I still get anxious before almost every one of them. So that's nothing to, for me, it's common. I always feel anxious before them, sometimes way more than other times for whatever reason. It could have been somebody that I know very, very well that I'm interviewing, that is a friend of mine, and I might be super anxious for some reason. So don't feel bad about that. I mean, it doesn't, for some people that never goes away. For me, it doesn't. It never did. I still do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I learned that the body's reaction to like a situation, whether it's anxiety or excitement, like when it comes to something like this, it really comes down to the mindset, because the same chemicals are being produced by your body until the anxiety takes over. Then there's a lot more. Yeah. But the like when I did the not so newlywed game,
yes,
with Annette, I was able to like focus more of like a positive energy on that, and like it was like I was anxious and then I was excited and then I didn't lose, so everything was great.
I did lose. I played it too. Like, a few weeks later, they did another one with spouses who weren't fish keepers, and my wife and I were up there, and we were married, way longer than everybody else that was up there by decades, and we lost.
Oh no.
There was a lot of funny stuff that came out of it, though. A lot of funny stuff. It was on Mixed Streamy, and it was A lot of balloon stuff. Okay, next up is Whip. What's up, Whip? If the Dark Lord were to manifest in a dark, shadowy corner and offer Grant, I love how you add all this extra to it, offer Grant eternal life with no strings attached, would you accept? No strings, so you live forever.
Yeah. No, I gotta pass on that. This is I think one lifetime's gonna be enough. I kind of wondered that as a kid, like, oh, I want to live to be like 200 or 300, and I just don't think I want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to get to like 80 or 90. I told myself I wanted to live to 105 so I could live in 3 separate centuries, but I just don't know if I have the patience for that.
It sounds exhausting.
It does. I'm gonna have to pass on the eternal life.
So far, I don't think anybody said yes. I think, and most people say the same thing. They don't want to see their family and friends, everybody that they know, just die over and over again. You know what I mean? If you're living forever, that doesn't just happen once. That happens numerous times, forever and ever. You fall in love, or you have kids and those kids die. It's a horrible, horrible thing. So I don't think anybody yet has taken up the Dark Lord yet. Eric Wyrock. Eric, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Eric.
Eric Wyrock. What's Grant's favorite sandwich? And that's been his question for a long time. Oh, wait, before you answer that, Eric is streaming tonight too, by the way, people. So make sure you go right after Bentley, I believe. I think it's at 10 o'clock Eastern time, right, Eric? But Eric is streaming tonight. So it's been a while, so people need to go watch that. And I'm glad you're back streaming, Eric. Okay, what's your favorite sandwich?
So my digestive system doesn't like this sandwich, but I love it. It is the Italian sandwich from Subway. I will get a whole foot long. I will put a bunch of banana peppers on there. I will put there was a dressing, I can't remember what it was. Garlic aioli. I'll put garlic aioli on there, salt on there, double meat, and I love dry cured meats. I've just always loved salami and like stuff like that as a kid. But as I've gotten older, my body has found its limits. But 10 out of 10, if I had to get a sandwich from somewhere,
that would be it.
Yeah.
That sounds good. The dressing sold me on it. The rest of it too. I like cured meats as well, though, very much so. Coral, what's up, Coral? So Coral wants to know what your favorite fish is to eat. And would you keep that fish if you had the proper setup for it?
I feel pretty comfortable with cod. So working at the meat department at Hy-Vee, I got to learn a lot about sustainable farming, sustainable fishing, and so there are certain fish that have great taste but have lived so long, like orange roughy, and breed so slowly that
gotcha.
They're loaded with those heavy metals and mercury and stuff like that. But cod seemed to be the one with the least amount of like
pollutants.
So like some of the fish were raised in farms that were basically fed feces. Tilapia is a big one that is fed feces. And so like I wouldn't want to eat tilapia, but cod, it's a white fish, light flaky skin. You can do like a beer batter on it. Yes.
It sounds I had dinner tonight already too, but I do like fish.
So I'd say cod.
Gotcha. And would you keep, now cod gets pretty good size. Would you keep it if you had the proper setup for it?
It'd be cool. It'd be really cool. This just reminded me, I saw an episode of like that Dirtiest Jobs or Dirty Jobs or whatever. And if if no one has seen the cod fishing ship, go see it. They find a substance in all the like sorting and processing of the fish. I won't spoil it, but you have to go look at it. It will turn your stomach upside down. It will not be what you expect. But Dirty Jobs, cod. That's one of my most memorable memories as a kid.
Salmon would be my choice. And how do you feel about salmon?
So the wild caught doesn't seem to be too bad. It's hard to find. Like, my income's going to be a lot smaller than a lot of people's. So affordability is something that affected me.
Yeah, I'm retired. I understand 100%.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah, but I still love it. I love salmon. Aldi, do they have Aldi out there?
Yep, there's Aldi.
Okay, Aldi has they have a smoked salmon that's super thinly shaved, and I get Kraft cream cheese with salmon, and that goes on my bagel, and then I put a little bit of that smoked thinly shaved salmon on top of that. Oh, that's the bagel. That is so good. But and it's great for sushi. The problem is it's like $11. You don't get that much, and I could just sit and eat the whole thing in like 2 seconds. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, it's gone. Okay. Where was I at? We got Coral. Killer Kitty's next up. Hi, Killer Kitty. What is the most random fact or quirky bit of information you know? What do we got? We're still good on time, too.
I know a lot of weird shit.
But do you know right now?
Yeah.
That's the difficult part.
Yeah,
tonight, 2 o'clock in the morning tonight, you're going to sit up in bed and go, you're going to think of something that was perfect for that answer.
I can't even think of a single thing.
Yeah. See, it's so difficult. But because I'm the same way when it comes to like trivia and stuff like that. I do have, I seem to store useless information. If it's something important, I don't remember it. But if it's useless information, I usually remember it.
The most recent thing that blew my mind, I had seen a video, and this hasn't been fact checked, but I got to learn a lot about the chicken processing, like the how to process chickens on a large scale, and a lot of the chemicals that are used and why there's a risk of salmonella on the chicken. That was a lot of interesting, quirky, stomach-turning. I guess I probably have to tell you guys if that's the question.
If you remember.
Well, it's a bleach bath, and so they'll wash it in bleach, and the water doesn't get turned out or refreshed every batch. Like, they just keep running the chickens through that. And
that smell.
I don't even want to be able to smell that image.
Yeah.
I love food. I love cooking. Oh, I was part of a cooking competition last year. I'll have to tell you about that sometime.
Yeah, that would have been great with the hobbies.
Yeah, sorry about that.
See, it's so easy to forget this stuff.
But learning about the bleach, learning about the salmonella, the feces, the rinsing, that is the information I'm going to use to scare people now.
No more chicken nuggets, Eric Wyrock.
I actually have chicken nuggets from my dinner tonight, and they've been hard to eat. Well, I was eating earlier, but
I'm sorry.
No, my appetite's not been fantastic with my legs, so.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
I'll eat until I don't want to eat.
Okay, next up is Tomatillo, Silver Creek. He wants to know what's your biggest dream to accomplish and what drives you. Let's do those as separate. So what's the one thing that you really want to accomplish in your life? So
I'd really like to make Crayfish Empire a successful business that can sustain both my lifestyle, sustain multiple employees, I couldn't even imagine having more than like 5 employees ever, but that would be a huge dream because that'll give me the financial capital to be able to do the things that I want, either personally or to help those that need help. There,
Mm.
there are so many times where I'm given an opportunity to help someone, and if I can help them, it's so little because
Yeah.
if it's money, I just don't have a whole lot.
It's another thing we have in common because I've always said that if I ever win like a big lottery, that everybody I know will be rich because would all of my friends would be everything they needed would be taken care of. I just wish there was so much. I've been the recipient of so much over the past, I don't know, 10 years or so. I've been the recipient of so much goodwill from people that I'll never be able to repay it. But I would love to. The second part of that is what really drives you, what really motivates you in life.
So, this is definitely something that I've been working through, but like a lot of the help that I do receive, I feel like I've not deserved. And so I'm always trying to get ahead of that ball, but then someone comes around and helps me again, and then I gotta fucking do it again.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but, the people that I can help, like most recently, someone came up to my door when I was trying to get gas, and I had my crutches and everything, and like they did the small talk, and they're like, "Hey, I'm really hungry. Do you have a few bucks?" I'm like, well, let's go in. I'm getting food too. I'll just pay for both of us. It was like, I think they got like $3 worth of stuff. $3 is not going to make or break me. And fuck, I forgot where I was going with this.
Just been able to help them, even that little bit, just being able to do something good for somebody like that that's in need.
Yeah.
Right.
The
Peas in a pod. I'm telling you, Grant, you and I, we have a lot in common, especially when it comes to that right there, what you just described, wanting to help people, doing the best that we can and not being able to do near what we want to do.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff that we can do, and it costs me nothing or very little.
Yeah.
But I always feel like I'm behind on the ball, so that's what drives me.
Yeah. Kindness. That's the easiest thing we can do, people. We could be kind to other people. You don't know what they're going through. You don't have to snap at people. You don't have to call them names. You don't have to do any of that. If you disagree with them, you can disagree with them politely. There's no reason to insult people just because you disagree with something that they've said. It's anybody that does that has issues. So next up, Coral wants to know if you could bring any saltwater critter into freshwater setup, what would it be, and vice versa. So you're going to bring a freshwater thing into the saltwater world, a saltwater thing into the freshwater world.
So the horseshoe crab is my favorite invertebrate. If I could make that a freshwater animal, I would have so many fucking tanks around my house, you wouldn't even see the wall.
Nice.
And
what is it about them? What is it about those crabs that you just like so much? Just the shape of them and the everything that.
So at first, I thought it was cool how just alien they look.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, probably 8 or 9 years old, a lot of the research using their blood came out, and so I just saw these vials of blood, just colored blue. And as a kid, I'm like, what are these things?
Yeah.
So that was a really early fascination for me. I didn't know that I wanted to do aquatic stuff then, but I thought aquatic animals were really cool. So that's why I want to make those a freshwater animal. Freshwater to saltwater. Does it have to be a fish or just a freshwater animal?
Yeah, just freshwater animal. Yeah. He says critter specifically.
If there aren't saltwater snapping turtles, I think the saltwater snapping turtle variant would have the amount of food and space needed to become massive. like
Oh.
mini boat docks just floating out there.
Yeah. And you want to see that. Snapping turtles scare the shit out of me. I've been too close to too many of them. And a couple of times did not realize I was that close until I just happened to look in the water. I was reaching down into the water and there was a big snapping turtle right there. He didn't really notice me either because I was just, the wind was moving me across the lake, and it was cleaning like the duckweed out of the way. And I was looking at all the different plants right along the shore. And then this guy was just dug in and he was massive. And I swear the kayak went up into the crease of my ass just a little bit because I was like, see, they scare the hell out of me. So I can only imagine a massive one.
They don't scare me too much. There are so many here. In fact, one time I was on a walk with one of my friends and I saw what looked to be a snapping turtle stuck inside of a tire, like in the water. And like, I was ready to go in there and pull it out or push it out. Like, they're fast, but I'm not going to let it die there. And I was so close to getting in the water until I found out it was just mating with another snapping turtle. So I was going to get bit. They were going to be pissed.
Yeah. You interrupted them too. One of their favorite, pastimes. And yeah.
Yeah. Don't rescue snapping turtles from each
other. Okay. Next is where was I at? Okay, here we are. Brookley Bell. Hi, Brookley Bell. Does Grant have any strange physical talent? So, like, can you wiggle your ears? Can you do anything? Your fingers do anything weird? Or anything like that?
So
you've got a messed up knee. That might be,
actually, that might be a really good thing. I think my left knee, the one that's injured right now, is the one that does this the most. But I found out that your knees aren't supposed to like bend forward.
Yeah, like hyperextended, right? Isn't that what they call it? I think when it bends the wrong way. I think.
Yeah. When I went to physical therapy back in 2016, they're like, okay, well, hold your leg up. And so they were putting something underneath my feet. So I just did that to both of my legs. And they're like, how long have you been able to do that? Like, for as long as I can remember. I'm just really flexible. And they're like, no, your knees are really weak.
So they were, the feet should have been like maybe straight, but they were sort of lifted up.
Yeah. So,
sort of curved up. Oh yeah, that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I think you've got the idea.
Yeah. I've seen somebody do that. Running to home plate, he put his foot on home plate, and there was a lot of dirt, and his leg went that way. So it bent up like that, and everybody went, oh, and I started laughing really hard. I was like the only person. I don't know why. Well, I didn't like the guy, but I laughed so hard, and I don't know why. I don't know what it was about it that made me laugh. I felt horrible, but it was definitely the wrong way. Okay. What do we got? We got about 12 minutes left. Zenny wants to know if you had to live, work, and play with any fictional character 24/7, like a personal sidekick, who and why? So they're always there, somebody to help you through life. Who would it be?
You know what? It's gonna have to be Blue's Clues, because I put something down and I never fucking find it. So,
it's good. That's a good one. And you were like,
yeah.
Blue's Clues. Man, I haven't seen that in forever.
Oh, I missed the original actor. I saw that video when he came out of Steve.
Yeah, he was in a band for a while or something, and he was like, yeah. And then he came. My kids were little when that came out. Okay. Whip wants to know, so you've suddenly got generational wealth. You've got all the money you could ever want for your family, for you. You can do anything you want. What are you doing, and where are you doing it at?
Is this something I do, or is this like a long-term goal?
Whatever you want. So it could be like, I mean, you've got all the money you ever want for the rest of your life. So you
Okay.
never have to worry about money ever again. What would you like to do with your life at that point?
I will never not work. So I would use that money. I saw this this system in a restaurant before, and it was basically like this hook from above, and attached to it was a harness, and then someone could be in that harness. And so if whether they had no use of their legs or they needed reduced weight, like weight bearing on their legs, um, it was a really good tool. And
Oh, did you just see that recently? Like a chef was using it or something? Maybe he was cooking and he had
going, like back and forth, and
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that was the video.
Yeah.
And someone sent me a picture of one of those slings. They're like, "Hey, you need these for your legs." And you know, my legs aren't going to be fantastic probably for the rest of my life, so I'm going to be working. So I want one of those in my house.
Gotcha. We might have those, but they're a different use. I won't go into here, but
I need one for the bathroom.
Scotty says, I'm awake. I passed out for 15 minutes. Oh, watch replay. How did Grant and that crazy devil from Washington meet? What's the backstory? That crazy devil. Caca!
So I have a really bad habit of not remembering very well how relationships began, like friendships, working relationships, etc. I imagine I was in her group, but I remember the push that she had to make, and that was how we started working together more. I kept getting burned and like trying to give away free stuff, doing giveaways and stuff like that. And for about 7 or 8 months, I was really sour. Like I just felt like I couldn't do anything without getting burned.
Yeah.
And she kept asking, like, "Hey, do you want to do a giveaway?" In a way that was like, she knew it would be helpful for me, and she knew it would be helpful for Crayfish Empire, and she knew it would help her community and the communities around. And she just kept encouraging me and encouraging me and encouraging me. I finally said yes. And since then, we just kept working and piggybacking projects one after another after another. And eventually she's like, "You're going to Pennsylvania this year." I'm like, okay. So like every time a step opened up, she's like, "You need to go and reserve your room. You need to go reserve your vendor spaces. You make sure you do this because like you're coming." Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy someone's paying attention to me because I'm not paying attention.
Well, I tell you what, thank you, Annette, because I was just looking at it today. It's sitting, no, you can't see it. I left the lid from the tank is in the way, but I have one of the MSG, the Mystery Snail Guardian kits that you guys gave away for the very first Fish Fam Christmas. Annette sent me one of those so I could see what it was. And I still have the plastic box over here because I really liked the box that it came in. So thank you, Annette, for getting Grant involved in our community. Appreciate that.
I don't know where I'd be without her help. That was a pivotal point. So I appreciate her.
We all need Annettes. We all need Annettes in our life to help us with those types of things and maybe fill in the gaps of our own shortcomings, you know? Because everybody's got them. Everybody's got something that they're not good at. So we all need those people that can help us bridge those areas, you know, to keep us going. Nobody needs to be alone. Okay. I got to scroll. We've only got 6 minutes left.
This went by really fast.
And actually, I see one last question here, I think. Oh, no. Nope. It jumped. There was actually quite a few of them. Man. Okay, there we go. Next up is Killer Kitty. Maybe he can judge an upside-down wall twerking contest at the Clash. They always have the veterans before the veterans become judges.
I'll do it. I mean, I'll even partake if my legs are working.
I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could. I don't think I have the, I'm a heavy guy. I don't have the arm strength anymore. So,
We'll have to make
but
sure
that's a good idea.
we've got caffeine or something to help raise some blood pressure.
Now, are you definitely coming to the Clash again this year?
Yeah. Like I really want to go. So regardless of whether my legs are working or not, like I'll be there. I know I've got 2 vendor spaces, but if my legs aren't working, I'm gonna be the only one like transporting all my stuff. And it was already hard last year, and I got help from people that were there rather. But I can't even lift a 50-pound bag of calcium right now without it just feeling like I'm picking up a small car.
Yeah.
So it really depends. What I do there really depends on how my legs heal, how that all goes.
Well, I'm sure that there's plenty of volunteers to help once you're at the event, but I get getting there is a big part of it as well. But
it's going to be an undertaking regardless, because my legs won't be 100% if they are working well.
Man, I was so far behind in this chat. I'm not going to get to all the questions because we only got 4 minutes left, so I apologize to anybody who I haven't got to their questions. Again, well, this is another one I'll add to the list that we'll have to do another one in the future at some point. I see Grant. Hi, Grant. Given the choice, mountains or beachfront, and we're going to try and speed through these. So try and go quick on these last few.
I'd say beachfront. Yeah.
You know what, Scotty? I'm going to skip that one because it's an in-depth question about what you've had in the past, fish-wise and everything. Grant has been very, very naughty. He gets to pick his final meal. What's he eating? So Zenny asked this question as well. Quite often, it's prison rules. So you can have anything you want at your very last meal. What are you having?
Italian dressing marinated breaded pork chops.
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
Love them. Let it marinate for 24 hours. Bread them, pan fry them. Best thing in the world.
And what goes with it?
I'd probably put Brussels sprouts and like sweet potatoes.
Ooh,
yeah,
that sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. Chicken nuggies or dino nuggies?
I'll take the chicken nuggies. Unless I can make like one of those lava landscapes with the dino nuggies and mashed potatoes, then I'll do the dino nuggies.
Zenny, I did do the sidekick question, and your answer was Blue's Clues. Blue's Clues. Okay, so you get to the end of your life, right? You're there, and there's a little bit of an afterlife, at least a little bit, and you see somebody from your past. They're there to greet you and to bring you over. Who is it, and what do they say to you? This is a tough question, and this gets a lot of people. There's been plenty of tears.
Yeah.
So don't feel if you get emotional, don't worry about that, because I do it all the time. It's a very emotional question.
Maybe we'll save that one for the next one, because
Okay.
I don't know if I can hold it. I can barely hold it together right now.
Okay, understood. Yeah, because I always, if you start doing it, then I'm going to start. I can already see you're doing it a little bit, so it's going to get me too. And then, damn you, Zenny. It's a good question, but it is very difficult for some people to answer. I know it would be very difficult for me to answer as well. So, and let's see. You know what? I'm going to cut it there because, Scotty, I don't want to go. Yeah, I don't want to go any longer. I mean, this is what I was scheduled for, was the 2 hours. We do have Bentley Pasco is going now at 9. I'm not sure if there's anybody else going. I think maybe Alex was doing a stream tonight, Secret History. But then we do have. I don't see Alex going, but we do have Eric too. After. Oh, is Bentley not even going? Is he not? I don't see him on. Vibes is going later. Oh, he's. I got to look at the calendar because I'm all confuzzled. We've got D&D. But I don't know if that's happening tonight. Mark was here, right? Bentley is. I got notification for Bentley. Okay. Bentley is going. And Vibes doing a pop-up? I don't see him on the schedule. Not that it matters, obviously. I like when people schedule it. It makes it easier on me. D&D is not scheduled. No D&D tonight.
I got to
Mark?
follow up with Vibes again. He invited me, and I was just kept being busy.
Yeah, you'll have a good time with Vibes. He's a good guy. You'll like streaming with him. 30 minutes till Bentley. Bentley's going late. I just don't want to go over Bentley. But also, we only scheduled 2 hours, and Grant probably,
I have all night, so it's up to you.
You sure?
I don't have anything else to do. So
yeah. Well, let me look here. There's Bentley. He's got it scheduled for 9. So yeah, he is 9 Eastern time. So Bentley is going to start here. So I don't want to go over him, especially because, it's a scheduled stream. I don't like to go over people if I can help it. I do that like we did that on the Halloween one. We've done it on other ones. So I don't, I'd rather not go over somebody who has a scheduled stream. That's just me. We'll definitely have to do this again, Grant. I had a lot of fun. Before we go, though, is there anything you'd like to tell people that we didn't talk about? Is there anything, either if you want to do something promotional and talk about, anything to do with the business or your channel, anything at all, now's a good time for that.
Yeah. Well, a few people got to see the shrimp sticks that I was developing before things went downhill. So last year was the bee pollen shrimp sticks that I made while I was sick. It was a slow launch. This year I have actual pink shrimp sticks made using a soybean hull and dragon fruit powder. Those were a huge hit. I kept trying to launch them, and then this happened, so it's going to be a little bit, but they've been a big hit. Those will come out soon. And a lot of people have already donated to the GoFundMe, and I really appreciate everyone's support with that because while I'm going to try my best to adapt and find another mode of income in the meantime, there's going to be a lot of bills that, like from the hospitals and medical and physical therapy and like trying to get the hardware I need to get, that that will help out a lot. So
yeah,
I'm going to try to find a way to provide like a thank you to those that have donated, but I don't have any ideas right now.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what motivated you to actually, because I know how difficult it is to ask for help. I get it. What motivated you to reach out and ask for help?
So it was when I realized that my best course of action was to shut down a site.
Yeah. Yeah. Did Annette give you a little push and say maybe we could do this? Did anybody else give you a little push and say maybe this is the GoFundMe is a good idea to do?
So I complained. I mentioned to her that I wanted to do it, that I was thinking of doing it, and I tried doing it. And every time I tried working on it, it gave me its own issue, either like lockup, timeout, or it said that the currency in Des Moines, Iowa, is not U.S. dollars. So I guess I've been stealing my groceries for the last 6 years.
It's corn. Come on, everybody knows that.
Yeah, see, maybe corn and soybeans. So I complained to her, and she and Scotty were like, "Hey, do you want help?" And yesterday was exceptionally rough. And I'm like, "Yeah, like if you guys want to do it, because I can't. Like GoFundMe's being a pain."
Yeah.
But somehow, like it works for them, so whatever, I guess.
It was just fated. It was fated for them to help you out that way. So, and I know everybody in the chat. I know it's difficult. There's Saints Dust. He has a GoFundMe right now for funeral cost for his wife. Even she's still with us, but it's tough. It's tough. So any help that you can do, a couple bucks makes a big deal. It's a big difference. So if anybody can, please do. If you can't, you can't. But I feel like we're always asking for money, but it's always for good reasons. And if this community can't help out its members from time to time, then what good is it? That's what the community is supposed to be for, is to help out the people in it, and bring us together. And this is what that is. So
I know when I'm back on my feet, I've had a hand in helping like people with stuff in the past, but I really want to find better ways to help more in the future, because I do not deserve the help that I've gotten, and it's meant a lot, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay it back somehow.
I get it. Do you know who Jason? Oh God, what's his last name? Primetime Aquatics. Are you familiar with them? Jason Adams. So Whip introduced me to him at the Clash, and I started talking about the community, and I started bawling right in front of him, right in front of Jason and Whip. I just started crying. I got all, because I feel the same exact way. I feel I've gotten so much support from this community, and I've never felt that I deserved it any more than anybody else does. There's a million people that need help more than I do, and I've just been extremely lucky. So that's just another thing we have in common. And if you figure out a way to give back, that something that I can follow in your footsteps, make sure you keep me in the loop, because I will be there with you to help.
Sure.
Because I definitely owe a lot of help back as well. So, okay. I think with that, we will, he totally did the big baby. It was adorable. And Scotty said, having Grant's friendship, support, knowledge, and amazing products is all we could ever ask for from Grant. He owes us nothing. So there you go. All right. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and end it. You guys go over and hang out with Bentley. And then remember that Eric Wyrock is going. Also, Mark Pyle, I believe, is also going tonight at 10:30. He always has an interesting stream as well. So there's still some good streams coming tonight. And again, Grant, thank you so much for hanging out with me.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
All right. I'm clicking buttons.